Hello everyone. Today we discuss about the second topic of foundation. So second topic is a shallow foundation in a chapter number 1, module number 1, foundation engineering. So what is foundation? Shallow foundation. So when the depth of the foundation is equal or to less than the width of the foundation, then it is termed as a shallow foundation. It is also known as a open foundation. Shallow foundation is placed immediately below the lowest part of the superstructure, and a footing is foundation unit constructed in a brick work, stone work, and a concrete below the base of the wall or column for the purpose of distributing the structural load over a wide area. Now here in second slide show two figures. Foundation is divided into two parts, shallow foundation and deep foundation. So here in a figure number 2, deep foundation show the if depth of the excavation is more than 3 meter, so it's called a deep foundation, and in a shallow foundation depth of the excavation is a less as compared to this deep foundation. Now next is the types of shallow foundation. So shallow foundation is divided into four parts: spread footing, combined footing, strap footing, and fourth one is a mat or raft foundation. So one by one we discuss about the footing and foundation. So first one is a spread footing. The spread footing are those which spread the superimposed load of a wall or column over a large area, and the spread footing support either a column or a wall. The spread footing may be of the following kinds. So first one is a single footing for a column, second one is a step footing for a column, third one is a slope footing or a trapezoidal for a column, fourth one is a wall footing without step, fifth one is a step footing for a wall, and sixth one is a grillage foundation. So one by one we discuss about. So first one is a single footing for a column. So here in a figure C exactly seen the pad footing. So a spread footing for a single column is either known as isolated or pad footing. So another name is a isolated or pad footing. In this case the footing may consist of a simple concrete block projecting out from the column face on a all side, and the base dimension of the concrete base should be less than twice the appropriate lateral dimension of the column in that direction. The thickness of the concrete block should at least be equal to one side offset from the column face. So in this figure pad footing figure is given. So this figure is on side figure is given. So here at the bottom of the column pad is provided, and pad is also RCC also RCC part. Now next is a stepped footing for a column. So in this figure step footing below the column is seen. So a step is provided below the column. If the column load is more, or if the shape bearing pressure of the soil is less, the base area will be large. In such a case it is necessary to provide a masonry offset to achieve the large spread before the load is transferred to concrete base. So in this figure step footing is given. So here yellow color is a column, yellow color show the column, and below the column pedestal is provided, and below the pedestal step is depend on a thickness or a dimension of the column. So here number of step is depend on a column size. Now next is a slope footing for a column. So these are also known as a isolated or individual column footing. They have the projection in the concrete base, and due to low bending strength the footing constructed with a brick, stone, or plain concrete require considerable depth to be safe to carry a heavy load. The depth of the plain concrete footing may be reduced much by providing a reinforcement and its base to take up the tensile stress. Now next is a wall footing without step. So here simple pad is provided at the below the wall. So it is also called a strip footing, which provides a continuous longitudinal bearing. Thus a spread footing for a continuous wall is called a strip footing. When the wall carries light load and the shape bearing pressure is very high, width of the footing may be very small. In such a case, the wall directly rests on a concrete base, and it is not necessary uh, uh, it sorry and no masonry offset are provided, means no any step is provided. Directly wall rest on a concrete footing or a concrete base. Next is a stepped footing for a wall. So when the wall carries a heavy load and the shape bearing pressure of the soil is not a very high, the base width is required may be such a greater. In such a case, a masonry offset are provided to achieve a larger spread before the load is transferred on a concrete base. In in case of a typical wall footing, the lowest course of the brick will have a twice the width of the wall above the plinth level. So in this figure, step footing below the wall is seen. So here total 4 step is provided, and all the 4 step are rest on a concrete base. The base width of the wall is achieved by providing 5 cm offset on both the side of the wall, and the depth of each course may be 10 cm to 20 cm. Now next is a grillage foundation. So a grillage foundation is a isolated footing generally provided when the heavy structural load from the column piers are required to be transferred to a soil having a poor or low bearing capacity. It can be divided into two categories. First is a steel grillage foundation and second is a timber grillage foundation. So in this figure, one grillage foundation figure is seen. So here I section column, I section of the steel structure is provided, and all the I section are right angle to each other, set at a right angle to each other. So a steel beam or steel grillage is provided above the concrete pad, and all the all the column are raised on a iron plate, and iron plate is fixed in a steel beam or steel grillage. Now we discuss about the steel grillage foundation. So steel grillage foundation consists of a steel joint or a beam, rolled steel joint or RSJ, which are provided in a single or double tiers. A minimum cover of a 10 cm is kept outer side of the external beam as well as above the upper flange of the tier. The depth of the concrete below the lower tiers should at least 15 cm. Now here steel grillage foundation is seen. So here in a steel grillage foundation, so below the steel column gusset plate is provided and angle cleat is provided to fix the column and base plate. Now here I section is provided and all the I section are right angle to each other in each layer, and all the all the steel structure is covered with a concrete. Now next is a timber grillage foundation. So timber type of the foundation is provided for a heavy loaded masonry wall or a timber column. This foundation is specially useful in a waterlogged area where the bearing capacity of the soil is very low and where the loading on the soil is limited up to the 50 to 60 kilonewton per meter square, and the foundation use timber plank and timber beam in place of the steel joints. No concrete is embedded between the timber joints, and the bottom concrete provided in a steel grillage foundation replaced by the timber platform constructed on a timber plank. Here figure show the timber grillage foundation. So here timber plank is firstly put on a uh, concrete base, and then after at a right angle wooden beam is fixed, and above the wooden beam wooden post is fixed on a wooden beam. Now typical timber grillage foundation for a timber column, the excavation for the base is leveled and the bottom of the level is timber plank size is 20 to 30 centimeter and wide 5 to 7.5 centimeter, thick is laid side by side and without any gap between them, and over the top of this layer a timber beam of the same section as that of the wooden post is placed at a right angle. Now next is a combined footing. So a combined footing is a single footing which support a two column. It provide under the following situation. So first situation is when the column are very near to each other. So the footing of the each column are overlap with each other, and in a second situation when the combined footing is required, so second situation is that when the bearing capacity of the soil is less and under a individual footing, and third situation is that when the end column is nearer a property line so that its footing cannot be spread in that direction. So here figure show the combined footing. So here two column are nearer to each other and below the column footing is provided. So here pad footing is seen in a figure. So both the column pad is combined with each other and only single pad is provided and both the pad is joined with each other. So it's called a combined footing. The combined footing may be following kind. So here divide into three part: rectangular combined footing, trapezoidal combined footing, and combined column wall footing. So one by one we discuss about the rectangular combined footing. See this figure, rectangular combined footing. The combined footing will be provided in a rectangular in a shape of the if the column carry equal load. Second type of the combined footing is a trapezoidal combined footing. If the column carry unequal load, the footing is trapezoidal shape. So here one column is a large size and second column is a small size, so trapezoidal combined footing is provided. And third one is a combined column wall footing. So it may be required to provide a combined footing for a column and wall. Such a combined footing are shown in a figure. So like hatch line show the wall, and nearer to wall two column is provided, so all the column and wall bind with a footing, bind with a pad, concrete pad. Clear? Now next is a strap footing. A strap footing consists of a two or more footing for an individual column by beam called a strap. So the strap beam connecting the spread footing of the two column does not remain in a contact with the soil and thus does not transfer any pressure of the soil. The function of the strap beam is to transfer the load of heavy loaded outer column to the inner one, and in doing so the strap beam is subjected to bending moment and shear force, and it should be designed to withstand this. So here figure show the strap footing. So here two column are constructed and two column footing are joined with a strap beam. So here upper figure show the strap beam easily connected with a two column footing, and it's easily transfer the load from the outer column to inner column. Next is a raft foundation. So raft or map foundation is a combined footing that cover the entire area beneath the structure and support all the wall and column. When the allowable soil pressure is low or that the building load are heavy, the use of spread footing would cover a more one half the area, and it may provide a more economical to use a mat or raft foundation. The mat or raft tend to bridge over the entire erratic deposits and eliminates different settlement. Raft foundation is also used to reduce the settlement above high compressible soil. So figure show the raft foundation. So all the columns are connected with a foundation is a raft, foundation. So here settlement is decreased. Now causes of the failure of foundation. So here main 6 causes of the failure of the foundation. First is a unequal settlement of the subsoil. Second is unequal settlement of masonry. Third one is a subsoil moisture movement. Fourth one is a lateral pressure on wall. Fifth one is a action of atmosphere. Sixth one is a lateral movement of a soil below the foundation. Clear? So one by one we discuss about the first is a unequal settlement of the subsoil. So unequal settlement of subsoil may lead to crack in a structural component and rotation thereof. Unequal settlement of the subsoil may be due to non-uniform nature of the subsoil throughout the foundation and unequal load distribution of the soil strata. And third one is a eccentric loading. Now unequal settlement of second one is the unequal settlement of masonry. So this portion of the masonry is situated between the ground level and a concrete footing or a concrete base, has a mortar joint which may either sink or compressed, leading to unequal settlement of masonry. So due to these, the superstructure will also have a crack. So this could be checked by using the mortar of proper sand, using the thin mortar joint. Third one is restrict the height of the masonry to 1 meter per day if the lime mortar is used, and 1.5 meter per day if the cement mortar is used. And last one is a properly watering. So unequal settlement of the masonry is decreased. Next is a subsoil moisture movement. So this is the one of the major causes of the failure of the footing on a cohesive soil, where the subsoil water level fluctuates and water table drop down, the shrinkage of the subsoil take place. Due to this, there is a lack of subsoil support to footing, which crack, resulting in a crack in a building. During the upward movement of the moisture, the soil swell, resulting in a high swelling pressure. If the foundation and the superstructure is unable to resist the swelling pressure, cracks is seen on a structure. Now next is a lateral pressure on a wall. So the wall transmit the load to the foundation, may be subjected to lateral pressure on a truss from a pitched roof or an arc or wind action. Due to this, the foundation will be subjected to movement. If the foundation has not been designed for such a situation, it may fail by either overturning or by generation of tensile stress on one side and a high compressive stress on the other side of the footing. Now next one is the action of the atmosphere. So the behavior of the foundation may be adversely affected due to the atmospheric agents such as the sun, wind and rain. So if the depth of the foundation is shallow and moisture movement due to the rain or rain maybe causes the trouble in a foundation. If the water remains stagnant near the foundation, it will remain constantly damp and resulting in a decrease in the strength of the footing or foundation wall. So hence it is always recommended to provide a suitable plinth protection along with the external wall. So here remember these three things. First is filling back the foundation trench with a good soil and compact it. Second one is provide a gentle ground slope always from the wall. And third one is provide a narrow sloping strip or of a impervious material along the exterior wall. And last one causes of the failure of the foundation is a lateral movement of soil below foundation. This is applicable for a very soft soil which are liable to move out laterally under vertical load, especially at a location where the ground is slopy ground. So such a situation may also arise in granular soil where a big pit is excavated in a near vicinity of foundation. Due to such a movement, excessive settlement take place or a structure may even collapse. If such a situation exists, seed piles should be driven to prevent the lateral movement or a escape of soil. Now next point is the setting of the foundation trench. So here figure show the setting of the foundation. For setting of the foundation small building, the center line of the longest outer wall of the building is first marked on a ground by stretching the string between wooden or mild steel peg driven in a ground at the end. These lines serve as a reference line, and for actual work nails are fixed at the center of the peg, and these two pegs, one on either side of the center peg, are driven at each end of the line. Each peg is equal distance from the center of the peg, and the distance between the outer peg corresponding to width of the foundation trench to be excavated. The peg may be provided about 25 to 50 mm above ground level and may be driven at a distance of about 2 meters from the edge of the excavation so that they are not disturbed. When the string is when a string is stretched, joint the corresponding peg at a two extremities of the line. The boundary of the trench to be excavated can be marked on a ground with a dry lime powder. The center line of other wall which are perpendicular to the long wall are then marked by the setting out right angle. A right angle can be set out by forming a triangle with a 3, 4, 5 units long, and this dimension should be measured with the help of the steel tape, and alternatively a theodolite or a prismatic compass may be used for the setting out the right angle. Similarly, all the lines are right angle done by the prismatic compass or a theodolite or a total station. Generally nowadays we use a total station for the marking the lines. And after right angle we mark the line by the chalk powder. So here figure show the setting out of the uh, foundation trench. So here dotted line show the center line, and points show the masonry piers. Dotted points show the masonry piers. Okay. Now next, today we finish our topic of shallow foundation.